So yeah, you guys are all ready then?
Rose again, I think.
Steven, are you frozen?
Nope, I'm here.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
oh, it just says I guess one of us is unstable, it says.
You have low bandwidth, it says, Chris.
Oh, me?
Yeah, it says Christopher Schaus network bandwidth is low. They are mocking your bandwidth.
Oh, brutal. Okay. As long as I come in clear, that's all that matters.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yep.
Okay, so all right, I'm here talking with John Biscello, the author of The Last Furies, which was put out last fall, and Stephen Mayoff, the author of um, sorry, Stephen.
At the
At the
mercy of our
mercy, at the
muses.
mercy of our muses, two novellas. Sorry, man. It's
Your
been a
bandwidth
long.
is low, see? Personally.
It's been a very long day. Um, and that will be released next year. Another novel for Lost Telegram Press, along with John's novel. But I wanted to talk to you two guys today about ego and the forms that it uh, is used and comes under with respect to the novel. Um, there's a few different ways that I wanted to talk about it. Um, but for the first question I'll pose is so concerning the Freudian um, look about ego, um, where you have the id wrestling with the superego. One of them, the superego, is dealing with the constraints of society and trying to fit in, and the id is the looking at the desires of what the individual wants out of life. That's an incredibly simplistic way of looking at it, and I'm sure on certain levels I'm not grasping it fully. But for the sake of this, so I'll start with you, John, about that aspect. You have characters in the Last Furies that seem to be grappling with that kind of issue, in terms of like the theatrical characters, their roles on stage. I'll just start you off with that, and if you can elaborate.
Sure. So you specifically just to bring it to a certain point in the book, or are you thinking more along the lines of those who were did you have a specific character or
No,
segment in
you
mind that I
pick.
can jump from or
No, you pick where you want to jump off from that.
okay, okay. So all of this, if we want to go back to Freud, is because I want to have sex with my mother, is what we're saying. This is what it all goes back to. Every single thing in the book stems from the fact that I have a mother ideation. And that's what all those characters are grappling with. That part's a semi joke, but the part that I would be serious about is because I think I often, in writing, I was talking with a buddy the other day, traffic in archetypes, or also maybe traffic in my own relationship to archetypes. I think that idea of ego in playing out in fetishes and scenarios and power struggle dynamics definitely would come through probably for almost all the characters, but there is the theatricalized quality to many of them, and I'll speak. Let's go with Artudo being the poet, based on Rimbaud, but he's sort of like the poet with a capital P figure, or he's supposed to be this representative of that. Um, and how, the tarot arcana obviously is made up all of symbols and archetypes, and how that sort of plays into the book as well. Um, maybe the simplest way to say it, I'm kind of going processing in my mind, is people trying to gain a sense of emotional or spiritual, energetic leverage to feel okay or to get what it is they need. It reminds me of, I recently saw the film Marty Supreme, and one of the takeaways I had from it, the part that I really liked about it was that every person, every character in that had a deep unfulfilled need. Like they were each was trying to get something. There was something that they needed, not just the protagonist, but the I won't go into the whole movie, but anyway, um, yeah, that really hit me how like, and you'll see that often in life, like there's like a group of us that get together and how those dynamics will shift based on who's in the group, what that person's need is, or how that happens in family, right? When somebody in the family dynamic, oh, this person takes up, they're the overt one, the loud one. They take up the energy in this way. So this is the role that I'm left with. So I'll shift into that role. But then you'll be in a different dynamic and everybody's being quiet, and all of a sudden you find yourself stepping forth. So, boy, I feel like I'm never good at answering questions directly. I think you know this, Chris. But I don't know. That's my jumping off from what you asked, and I'll rest there for now.
Stephen.
Yeah, well, it depends what you're talking about in the book. It depends which novella, because they're two very different novellas. One is Group Dynamics, which is Kindred Spirits. So, I mean, it's really difficult to say how ego takes part. It depends what you've explained, like what you're talking about, ego. Um, I think these writers, these four writers in Kindred Spirits, or three writers, one wanting to be a writer, trying to come out as a writer. Um, they see themselves in a as writers already, and what they're doing is they're writing erotica for $1 a page, basically just to make this extra money, and that they don't see that as their writing. And so that's what the novella is about. And in terms of ego, I think that's part of it. And part of it, when you talk about ego, I think you have to always, especially if you're talking about some kind of artistic discipline, you have to also talk about um, what we see as the opposite of ego, which is um, opening yourself up. I mean, ego is really a kind of an armor, I guess. I don't know how else to describe it. I mean, they see themselves as, writers, and they're not erotic writers. And so, but that is part of their writing. That is part of who they are, whether they like it or not. So I'm not sure how much that answers your question. In terms of the other novella, which is about a reclusive painter, I mean, ego is basically a recluse for him. He sees himself as being him against the world. And so that is, I guess, a form of ego. But then he has to contend in a very speculative way with his own artwork, that ends up usurping his life. So, and he has to sort of concede to that. So that's a very different form of ego, I think, from the first novella.
Yeah. See, the funny thing is the reason why I asked you two guys the question is because I guess as an outsider, I see it very clear in both of your books.
Okay.
So like Stephen, like what you were just talking about. So this the second novella there, um, the aspect of trying to destroy the superego and not wanting to exhibit works anymore, and just wanting to work on his own desires, right? his own works, and then he comes to the point where he has to um, he is displaying a work, and I'm not gonna give the whole time, you know, the whole storyline away, but he ends up displaying his work at the end, and then is destroyed by it, right?
Right.
So that's almost his super ego destroying himself. Like, it's
Sure.
very, to me it seems very, very clear, right? And
Okay.
like in John's book, um, you know, the situation where what's her name, the character there, where
Evie or Viola?
she has sex with the statue, basically,
Oh,
right?
Evie, yeah.
Yeah, and she's like giving herself over to the statue. She wants to become all these different things because she doesn't like the situation she's in, right? She wanted to be this actress. She wanted to. There was maybe not an actress, but there was something about it that gravitated her towards that, and you know, very quickly she realizes this is um someone else's desire for me,
Mm.
right? um so I don't know if you two want to elaborate any more on that, or if that's like
Well, if I could, I would like to piggyback a little on something Steven said that I thought was really valid and interesting. You know, it made me think about how ego can wear so many different masks of the forms, or so if when you mentioned about ego as a recluse, how somebody may shut themselves off from society or maybe want minimal human contact. And it's not ego as like a trumpet blare, like, look at me, take notice of me. There might be the ego that parades itself. And then there's someone who's like, oh, I don't need any or want any attention. It's still ego at work, right? But it's just taking a different route or an alternative way. And that's why I feel like ego, yeah, it's such a rich and slippery slope of a word, like where it can go or
it
how it can
is
manifest.
Exactly.
it
Yeah.
is it's a huge it's a huge word. um and that's why I think Freud, you know, with all of his problems, I think he tried to sort of simplify that. um I don't know. I don't know if people think he did or not. To me, it sort of it makes sense to me. I understand. Um, that might be the only thing I understood about him at all. But so the second last question is has more to do with because you guys are more touching on sort of the modern look of ego, right? Have to do with like self-esteem, pride, um, self worth, these types of issues, right? And so the question is about putting a name on a book. How important is that to have somebody's your own name on a book? Is that a social construct that you feel you have to fit into, or is that something you don't feel is your choice, or is it just um, yeah,
Sorry, what do you mean by name? A name on it? Mean my name on
yeah,
it?
your name?
Well, it's pretty important if I wrote the book to have my name on it. And you know, it's interesting that you bring that up because I find I don't, you know, I the way my the book covers have been designed, a lot of the time my name is smaller than the title, and I had to think about that. I went, do I want my name, you know, the same size? You know, do I want my name part of it? And you know, it's just something I've thought about. I haven't really come to a decision of how I want to see myself on my book. I want to see, you know, in terms of the way a book is or the way a cover is designed. I want to see the title of my book very much up front, very much front and center, and my name I want it in there. And but at times when I've seen it smaller, I go, you know, I can live with that because I don't know. I think the title is certainly more important than my name. My name doesn't sell, so I think if a publisher said, "Oh well, we need his name on there," I think they put my name on there because they have to. But other than that, I'm not sure. I just it needs to be on there because
Oh
that's
yeah,
me.
yeah, of course, Stephen. It's the choice of the author, right? But that's what I mean when it comes down to is that if it's up to the author, do they what is the rationale behind when it comes to wanting their own name, a pen name, where they want
Oh, I see what you
where they
mean.
want the title of the book and the artwork to um, circumvent everything else. They want
Right.
that.
Well,
They want that. They want that title and that imagery to speak for the entire work, and to
absolutely.
you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
that's where these choices come down to, and that does play into ego. I mean, it's something that's totally not really talked about. It's
Right.
not
Well,
a
the
common.
title is front and center. The title is foremost. For me, it has to be. I mean, that is the book. I
Yeah,
take a lot of care with the titles I choose, and the title, in some way, has to really tell the reader, what is this? What is it they're coming into? So that is the foremost important part of it. More important than my name, I'd say.
yeah,
Yeah.
John.
Yeah, so that's a great one too, and I'm going to answer two-pronged here. The first is yes, I'm not shy or reserved in the least of having my name and as my own name associated with it. I think part of it is because even when I was very young, I remember writing stories at my table and I didn't show them to anybody, but I felt like, oh, these are my stories. And I pretended that there was this huge invisible audience, like this mass audience that couldn't wait for the next installment. And even though it was a phantom fan base, it was, oh, John Biscello, who I am in this lifetime, and that's my existence right now, is doing this thing. And it was absolutely satisfying to my ego, to my dream self, my child self. So all of that plays into the fact that, I've committed myself to this for a long time. And it's like, yeah, just like signing your name to something. And I don't know, I'm comfortable that it's my own name and that's yeah, never been an issue. That being said, you might have read part of this, Chris, but the other day I was writing sort of a micro essay or meditation, and I do this sometimes on writing in process. It's kind of, it's just I find it so interesting always going into that and the layers. And this particular day or this particular trajectory had to do with I would sometimes often feel, okay, I get this stuff done and written because I go inside myself or I travel somewhere, I go to whatever the other place is, and there are stories that exist or a voice or whatever it may be, and I function as a channel. But what was different this time as I was writing, it's like, oh, I'm not looking for a story or a thread or way in, but it's like looking for an actual writer. So each time it's a different writer. The novelist who wrote The Last Furies would not be the same who wrote Broken Land. And it's like I have to find the author. So I mention all this because it kind of plays into this idea of like, oh, who's the author? What's the author? If I'm interested in that. I mean, that's just something I enjoy geeking out on and thinking about sometimes. But I always say my ego loves to take credit for all the work, but I feel a little bit like I joke, not a plagiarist, but it's like I don't know where this stuff is coming from, but I love signing my name to it, and I love kind of like being the representative, and I'm doing all that, but it does feel like that sometimes that it's like that other person, that those things that happen that are feel like they're not me. It's not the way I normally write or speak or talk. Like something else happens. And I hope I never lose it because it feels mysterious and wonderful. Um, but that absolutely plays into ego, like on a very deep level, for sure.
Okay.
And
Well, I
identity. Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Mm.
Well, I wasn't trying to braid you guys. You guys are both great writers, so you should be happy to sign on.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
It's an honest question. I ask these
Mhm.
things. They're heavy to some people, but to me, it's just an ordinary question, an ordinary thing to
Yeah.
talk about, right? Um,
Right. Well, in terms of the writing about writers, I think is egotistical in itself, for me anyway. But I always tend to want to write about the creative process as I'm not just understand it, but as I'm continually trying to understand it. And so, I mean, that is partially about ego, but it also it's I think it's also about trying to open myself up to something,
yeah, you're
and
trying to show
yeah,
your place exactly. Yeah,
yeah,
and that's all we've been really talking about, and that's all you guys really do, anyways, in your work. So,
right.
all right, well, thanks for talking to me about this, and
No problem. Thank you. Good to meet you, John.
Yeah, good to meet you too, Stephen.
Yeah,
Best of luck with the novel launch.
thank you very much.
all
Yeah.
right, there will be other conversations. I'll talk to you
And
guys.
you could ask me, let me just say any question. Yeah, I'm open to any question. So I don't, yeah, whatever you feel like. And I love when I don't know what it's going to be. So
All
that's
right,
great.
well, there'll be others, John.
Okay,
Over
Okay.
and out, guys. Take it
take
easy.
take care.